All right, everybody. So it feels like we already went to Comic Con and came back. I told you these are always long, especially you first timers. These are long episodes because we just talk about everything, and you never know where it's gonna go. Kind of like Comic Con, as you've discovered by now. So again, this final segment is just for you first timers. We met a lot of you at Free Comic Book Day and some other events that we've done since. Everybody excitedly came up to me. We're going to Comic Con for the first year. You've been there a lot of times. What can you tell us? And remember what I said. Listen to the Countdown to Comic Con episode. This is it. This segment is for you, especially for you. So I'm not going to do it by myself. You see a special guest there. That is Aurelia. Aurelia, you may be following her. If not, you need to. You're going to. I have it on the show description. Aurelia's Adventureland on Instagram. Aurelia, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here and talk about one of our favorite topics.
Yeah. Well, this came up, what I'm about to tell you came up in a couple of the interviews because some people there, it's their second time going, some it's their third time. They said, I feel like a vet, but I said, and any Comic Con vet, you know this, you're not officially a vet, Comic Con vet, until about your third or fourth one. The first one, it's just like, oh my God, this is so big. It's so cool. The second one, you kind of know what to expect. The third one, you know how to get around the hiccups or anything going on. By the fourth one, you got it down. You're a vet by then. So your first one, you know what Comic Con was, but your actual first one was last year. So let's go before we get into this year. Let's go back to that. Um, what made you? I mean, silly question. What made you want to go to Comic Con? It's Comic Con. Why wouldn't you want to go to Comic? What made you want to finally go to San Diego Comic Con last year?
Yeah, well, as you mentioned before, there's so much going on at Comic-Con, and I really think that the process starts with the tickets. I think the ticket process has always intimidated me, especially in this day and age. It's impossible to get tickets. So last year, it was honestly luck. I've been following updates through Comic-Con throughout the years. And then last year, I had a friend who was able to secure me a ticket through I would consider to be a vet. So he knew how to lock them down and was able to get me one. So I was able to go for the very first time last year. That's kind of how I arrived. And I mean, of course, there's an easy answer to the why is it's freaking San Diego Comic Con. Um, and especially coming out of, let's see, last year was 2025. So the 2024 year with the announcement of Doomsday, I kind of just had my sights set on being there at some point. So yeah, I'm a big Marvel fan myself, and
Well, yeah,
I
I'm
think
I'm laughing at that because yeah, you're right. Yeah, everybody saw. We were actually there in Hall H when the reveal happened. So yeah, like a lot of people were thinking like you. Well, I'm gonna go next year and miss it. Then Marvel wasn't there the following year.
right, yes, but there is always so much going on around the area. So there's still ways I think to immerse yourself in the Marvel fandom without even Marvel being there, which I think is fun. And that's just one fandom. There's still so many other franchises.
Yeah, yeah, and I know all of you watching, especially you longtime Geek Speak listeners. Now you're thinking, oh, so that's why he's following her because she's a Marvel fan like me. So yeah, that's part of it. But that again, go to her Instagram. You'll see why she does a lot of amazing things. Now, did you go the whole week or just one day last year?
Last year, I just went one day.
Okay. Well, even for one day, how soon did you know that you were going to go to Comic Con before Comic Con happened?
Was a few months beforehand.
Okay, perfect.
I don't remember the exact timing, and I think I know where you're going to go with
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, imagine for people that are going to go there the entire week, but really how soon is too soon or too late to start getting ready, packing and getting ready for San Diego Comic-Con in your opinion?
It's a great question. I think there are levels to this question. In terms of outfit planning, packing, I think you can't start that kind of thinking too soon. I mean, there's a span of different things that you can prepare for. If you're like me, I love fandom subtle styling. So I'm always thinking through how I can incorporate my favorite characters into my outfit. So that kind of stuff, I'm thinking of months in advance. When it comes to the actual events, activations, panels, things like that, all of that isn't really released up until a few weeks prior. So it's really like the month of July, you're doing your research, reading through the blogs, trying to figure out what is going on during that week and kind of putting together an informal, I'll call it, plan from there. But in terms of thinking about what your weekend is going to look like, I think come January 1st, it's a new Comic Con year and my mindset's already there. Whether or not I'm actually inside of the convention center or just participating in the surrounding areas, I think it's never too early to start thinking about it. But in terms of putting a day of plan together, it's really the weeks leading up.
Yeah, this is why you're also the perfect person to talk to about this because yes, there's cosplayers. That's an adventure in itself. Getting all everything that they whatever they like last year. I don't know if you couldn't have missed him. There was a huge life size Galactus walking around. So you imagine
Yeah.
what it took for him to pack all that stuff. But there's that the cosplayers. If you're gonna cosplay that's a whole thing right there. But like you were saying if you're gonna go there, especially if you're gonna go there for the entire week, I'm assuming you've been to not Comic Con, but just to San Diego, the city you visited before, and you know what the weather is like and everything. Because you got to think about that, the weather. Like, what am I gonna wear for San Diego weather?
Definitely. Yeah. I'm familiar with San Diego. I've been a few times and it gets a little tricky because the convention center morning of, I mean, you can kind of feel the AC running a little bit better. By the afternoon, it's completely packed. So it may as well just be San Diego in the convention center as well. So packing, even just for a day, I didn't stay in San Diego last year. I just brought my car and filled it with what looked like I was staying for the weekend because I like to be prepared for different temperatures. So the mornings are definitely cooler in San Diego. The heat rolls in really fast when you're walking from convention center to different activations, restaurants, events, things like that, you definitely feel the heat. So I went with like a little subtle Lady Death outfit in the morning, started just completely covered in black. And by the afternoon, I knew that was going to be a choice. So I brought just a t shirt, something really simple, comfortable to change into sneakers. I started the day in boots because, again, I just like to dress and lean into that side of me. But I know that's not something that I last in all day. And then, of course, come the evening when the sun goes down and the Pacific Ocean breeze rolls in, it's a completely different temperature. So then again, you're going back to how can I keep myself comfortable and putting those layers back on was really important. So, thinking through, you know, different temperatures is really important. If you have a car, I think it's really easy to keep things in the car. Otherwise, I'm also a proponent of keeping a backpack with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned something important there. Like you said, you wore those boots. You all of you that have been listening to me, this is going to be my 13th, 14th time going to Comic Con. You've heard me say it all those years. The guest said it, David Glanzer on this very one. He organizes Comic Con. He said it earlier in this episode. Comfortable shoes. That's the most important part. I mean, I know you were it was part of your outfit, but now that you've actually been on the ground, literally, would you agree? Comfortable shoes are necessary.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like walking in boots. I've reached my limits though. So I think definitely, especially, I cannot stress enough, and I know we'll probably get into it, but when you're walking not only around the convention center, but across San Diego to get to different activations and pop ups, comfortable shoes are going to be your best friend.
And the one day you went last year, what was it? What day was it? Friday or when was it?
I went on Friday.
Okay. If anybody's wondering, I'm sure you are, because again, it's your first time going. If you're going preview night, you can get there early. There'll be a line around two, sometimes 12, really, not to get in. You can't go in the convention center yet. Some of the activations are open. They're actually open before the week before, so you can go to those if you want. But around 2, 3 o'clock, you're going to see a long line coming in. You follow that line because that's where you're going to pick up your badge if it wasn't shipped to you. So once you have that, you get the bag, you get the lanyard, everything else. From that point, kind of like you, how do you not get overwhelmed because okay, now you've got your badge, you got everything ready to go. Let's go to Comic Con, and then there's Comic Con. There's like 20 million things happening at once. How do you decide what you do first?
That is a great question. I think the nerves and getting overwhelmed is something you can't really control, especially in that environment. Um, I am someone who likes to get a lay of the land. So I think knowing the schedule in advance is definitely important, especially if there's something that you want to go to first thing in the morning. You kind of have to prepare for that. Excuse me, prepare for that a little bit with more thought. But I like to just get in there and familiarize myself with the convention center. You mentioned Galactus, and he was very hard to miss, but I think that just seeing things like that is going to already throw you off a little bit. So I think just making sure that you feel comfortable with your surrounding is probably going to be your first priority. And the exhibition room itself is incredible. You have full long-term brands who are going in there. You also have local artists and people who are just starting up with their art journey. So I think that in itself is really incredible to see. And I think going around and starting with some of those little tables, I think is a way that helped me get a little bit more comfortable with, okay, wow, I'm here and there's hundreds, if not thousands of people surrounding me. And there's so much to do, yet I don't even know where to start. But I think just kind of talking to some of the people who have been there, setting up, working for their art, and bringing it to life at Comic Con was a good starting point.
Yeah, I don't know if you experience this, but I will say there is also the other side of that where yeah, you want to meet some of the artists that you want to talk to their tables. This is San Diego Comic Con, not WonderCon or one of the smaller ones. Security will tell you got to keep moving, got to keep it moving, got to keep it moving. You can't stand for too long. Then there's also the like the Marvel, the Lego booths, the Disney booths, all the big studio booths. DC is there, and it's not unusual that you're trying, like you said, you're trying to get your lay of the land, and all of a sudden there's like, well, you're not allowed to run, but they're briskly walking towards towards a booth because the cast of Doomsday, the cast of Vision Quest, or the cast of whatever new DC show or some new Warner Brothers show or movie or something, they all show up there, and everybody wants to get a picture, and it's just crazy. So I always say San Diego Comic Con is a place where you need to accept FOMO because you are going to miss out on a lot of things. Because think of it, while things are happening in Hall H, there's hundreds of other things happening at the same time at the convention center or offsite. So without cloning yourself, you're just not going to see everything. That's why I always like to ask first timers, like, how did you make your way through all that mess? I always say you got to be like the exorcist, your head spinning around. It's like, look at that, look at this, look at that, look at that. One thing I will say, and I see if you agree, the battery chargers, get a lot of those because
But yeah,
you will run out for sure.
definitely. Yeah. And that is a good point. You do have to be comfortable with missing out, especially when it comes to panels. Some of that you do need to be in line for an hour or two in advance. Even some of the smaller panels, you'd be surprised. People will start lining up, or what you might think is small.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of relative. Um, some people will start lining up 45 minutes in advance at the very least. So, yeah, being comfortable with missing out. That is also something that I think I learned firsthand.
Yeah, and well, something else that's important just because we're human. Where do you eat? Where do you eat? How do you stay hydrated? How do you take care of that?
It's a great question. One point I do want to bring up, and then I'll jump into the food. I think hydration is going to be key, especially when you are in that environment and you're overstimulated. I think water can very easily be an afterthought. Hydrating days leading beforehand is very important. So, very big proponent of drinking water, keeping a water bottle with you. I can't remember exactly what the rules are in terms of what you can bring in. I went in last year, I just bought a water bottle, a plastic water bottle. First thing, kept that with me, and then
You
also located
you
my
you
like
can
where all the water fountains are.
you can have a water bottle. You can the whatever it is, metal, plastic, whatever you can carry that with you. And actually, it is a good idea because I don't know if you noticed, there's a lot of water fountains where you can just refill, and it's free water right there for you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there are so many companies these days that make little water satchels too. So it makes it really easy to keep your water bottle with you. Water, I think, is one of the easier things that you can find. There is convention food, which is your typical, what I imagine stadium food is as well, chicken strips, burgers, salads, things like that. There's also things offsite. I mean, one, you're in like the heart of San Diego, so it's not very hard to find food on the outside. Of course, you're going to miss out on things if you leave the convention center. I also want to call out that there will be some companies, I'm spacing on the name right now, but I know that there's a bagel and donut pop-up that will open first thing in the morning and basically be there until supplies last.
No,
So
I'm laughing because it's Dungeon Crawler Carl. It's actually Prince's Donuts donut truck. That yeah, I did see that.
yeah, I mean, of course that's not the most substantial food. I probably last year I just bought convention food. I probably went with chicken strips because at least that's protein and that carried me through the rest of the evening. Snacks, keeping snacks on you, little bars, fruit leathers, things like that.
I this is a part of when we do all these when we talk about Comic Con 101s or how to when people ask me how do you get around Comic Con, these are the things that I don't want to say. Be not that, well, it is, I was gonna say not that I want to keep it secret. I actually do want to keep it secret. I do know some places in the convention center that actually do have some pretty good food, and one of them I will, because I like all of you, I will give it to you, and that is outside Ballroom 20. There is a it's just a regular snack area, but the food is really good there. The burgers, I want to say they're grilled. They're not, they feel like they just got cooked right there. There's salads, there's
Oh.
fruits, there's all kind of stuff. So outside Ballroom 20, that is the one place where you can get, yes, convention food, but good, or as good as it can get in the convention center.
Wow, pro tip. Thanks for
Yeah.
sharing.
Yeah. Well, it took me a few visits to find that one. So I'm like I said, let all of you guys have that one. Now, one thing I should have said before we got into the convention center is going back outside, getting around. How do you get to and around? I know there's walking, but how do you? There's lift, all that. How would you get around the campus, not just the convention center?
That's a great question. I use the park, I think it's called ParkWiz app to locate, well, different lots in the area as well as the price. I mean, I think a lot of people go into these events expecting to pay $40, $50 for a day to park there, which I think the convention center offers. I imagine that's just mayhem. The ParkWiz app, you can find lots for as low as, I want to say, like $12. Don't quote me on that, but there are definitely a lot cheaper areas you can park that are within the gas lamp district. So I think I parked within a 15-minute walk. It was super easy, affordable, monitored garage. That was really helpful. I'm sure there are Lyft, Uber drop off points within the area. So that's an option as well. If you don't even want to deal with your car, if you don't even have a car, I guess I should say, for people who are traveling in. What else? Some hotels might have a shuttle, but I didn't have that experience, so I can't really speak to that too much.
Those are pretty good. Preview night, I think they start running. Oh, the other thing is if you want to get a shuttle, they're only it's only if you get an official Comic Con hotel. Those are on the shuttle routes. If you just find one or an Airbnb on your own, they're not gonna have shuttles, complimentary shuttles, especially that they won't have those included. Um, there's another thing actually that you mentioned. All of you have seen it. Even if you go on your first time, you can't miss them. They're called pedicabs. They're the little bicycles that go all over the place, and they have music and all of that. You can use those also. They can get a little bit. I mean, everything gets expensive when it's Comic Con. They hike up the prices, but it's quick, it's fun, and you can play some music, and people are like, "Hey, they don't know who you are," but it just people just wave at the pedicab. So there's also those, and the good thing about the pedicabs, they can take you within where the lines are, and like where you see behind me the marina. They can go in that area. Cars can't go through there. So pedicabs can take you where no cars have come before,
There you go.
because they fit through there. So there's another one that you can do. Now the next thing, I don't know if you had to do this when you went last year, but like you said, there's a lot of people there. It can get overwhelming to for first timers especially. If you want to get away for a little bit, unwind a little bit, or just get away from the crowd, do you have any? How would you do that? Did you find any spaces where you can do that?
That's a good question. I, again, I've only been the one day, but the cafeteria that I ate in, and I clearly there's a lot more, was upstairs. I want to say I took like three different escalators to get up there. And there was this window that overlooked the exhibit. It wasn't too crazy. So that would be kind of one area, and I'm the worst with directions, so probably the worst person to ask without a map. But one area in the convention
That's
center.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's what where the fan club area, where the fan tables are, and that when they're usually right around when you come out on the up the
Yeah,
escalators.
I do remember seeing all that. I think, yeah, the higher you get up, the less people there are. I had my car, so having my car there was really helpful also for that reason. So, kind of that midday point when I went to change or get my clothes, I was able to take a few minutes in my car as well. I think even just being outside of the building is really helpful. Oh, I also wanted to say, in terms of just parking and walking around, no lot is too far from the convention center. You're going to be walking around all day, so don't be intimidated by parking maybe a little bit further from the convention center than you'd like to. But with that, you can also find there's little bars, cafes, things like that for which are perfect for taking a break away from the big crowds.
Again, I'm gonna give you all of you. I'm gonna give you two. They're not secret. Everybody knows about these, or maybe they do. Well, I mean, it's actually right behind my shoulder here. It's that building over there, the Manchester and the Marriott Marquis. Those two hotels, they do have a lot of spaces where you can unwind. There's not a lot of crowds there. The Manchester, there's a restaurant there. You can actually sit there if you want. If you're hungry, go to get away from the crowds. And there's very sometimes there's lines, but not like what you see in Comic Con, um, or in the main campus area. The Marquee, the Marriott Marquee, that one has a lot of places where you can just sit, just lounges where you can sit. And we talked about it in one of the segments earlier. That's also where the film festival is happening, and that film festival, there's a lot of room in those halls. You can sit there. It's dark. It's quiet. No one's going to bother you. There's a movie that you can watch while you're sitting there. And the best part, both of those have a lot of AC, really good AC. So if you want to get out of the heat, get out of the crowd, those are two places where you can go. So again, not secret, you know about them, but you may not know that you could use those as get away from the crowd places.
Lovely.
Now, let's we've covered pretty much everything. If you have any questions, anything that you think we may have missed, you can send a DM to either of us or email me. Most of you guys know how, or it's on the description how. Start thinking after Comic Con is over, post Comic Con. Um, the emotional part, the I miss Comic Con, we can't help you there. You just gotta wait till next year when it comes back again. But how do you recover physically, financially? That again, that's up to you guys. Whatever you spent at Comic Con, but how do you recover and get back to normal, your regular schedule after, especially when you go for a whole week after Comic Con?
Definitely. That's a great question. I think a wind down routine is probably personal to everyone. I think as I'm transitioning from the fandom bubble back to day-to-day reality, I am the type of person I live through the pictures and the videos that I have taken. Also, just living through other people's experiences as well kind of gets me in that, okay, we're transitioning from I was there into real life, but this is kind of helping me get back to real life while still feeling like I'm a part of the fun. So I like to kind of live through the content of what was taken as I'm kind of transitioning back into real life. Of course, hydration, I'm going to keep coming back to this, is key. Your emotional support water bottle will become your best friend. Electrolytes, after traveling and eating convention food or just not your day to day, getting back into, like what's going to keep me back on track. From a food standpoint is also, I think, important right when you get home to just, like, okay, get back into the routine of things, relive through your memories here and there so it doesn't hurt as much, and drink a lot of water. I don't know if you have any advice from your experience having gone so many more times.
Well, actually, funny you say that because I was thinking, not a brag, but that's a luxury I actually have be doing a show like the Geek Speak show that it doesn't end for me. It's not Comic Con, obviously, but even at the week after Comic Con and the weeks, the months going to the end of the year, I still have to live in in that world because I still interview celebrities, actors. Um, Still got to deal with that with that world. So yeah, but I get my co-host Sean Clan. He's not here now, but he the first time he covered a Comic Con with us, he called me that Monday morning to tell me exactly what you said. Henry, I hate you. You showed me a whole new world, and now my job is even more boring than it was before. So yeah, I get it. It's hard. One thing I would say is exactly what you said. Really is go through kind of like a breakup. Go through everybody else's Instagram, social media, their videos, and like, oh yeah, I was there. Oh, I missed that. I don't know so and so was there. All that that'll help a little bit. And you should be fine by Wednesday, Thursday, maybe Friday, maybe the next weekend. You should be fine by then. And if not, well, you're on your own. I can't help you. I
I
can't
know.
help
I
you
guess
there.
that's where we keep coming back to the idea of being comfortable with the missing out part.
Yeah,
Even though there's technically not anything going on that week, it's still that lingering feeling of like, but there was.
yeah. Let's see. I think we've covered pretty much. Is there anything else you can think of that we missed?
Last thing I would say for first timers, because going in as a first time last year, I wasn't as familiar with activations. So there's so
Mm.
much going on in the city. There's the SDCC unofficial blog that posts
Yeah.
everything that is already published, as well as how to gain access to activation. So if you see there's a studio or a brand that is doing something that you want to be a part of, sometimes you have to get tickets in advance. And for the most part, it's just standby. So I think getting there early, if there's something you really want to experience, will help your chances in getting into the activation without waiting an absurd amount of time. But with that, there's also a ton of people. So the line part is kind of part of the game. But there's definitely, yeah, different experiences that you can have even outside of the convention center.
I almost don't want to ask you this because again, this makes it seem like a brag, and it's not. And I also know, like you said, how long people wait sometimes. But when you have reservations, you make a reservation for the activations. Do is it kind of like those of you that have gone to Disneyland? Is it kind of like the what is it called, the lightning pass or whatever they
The
call it?
lightning lane,
Yeah,
that's exactly how it feels. You just get to bypass the line.
yeah.
Huh?
Oh, so that is how it works because I know there's
When
a
you have a
standby line.
return time, I
Uh huh.
believe so. And I only did one activation last year, and I'm sure they're all different. But I believe when you have a return time, there will be the standby line and there will be a return time line. So let's say you have a 3:30 return time. it'll tell you. They'll tell you on your ticket how early you need to show up, but let's say 15 minutes in advance. You go check in. There's normally like a waiting area, so it's not like you're just walking bypassing the line. It's kind of a separate waiting zone. And then once everyone for that time period checks in, they'll usually take you all as a group in, bring in those people first, and then a certain number of people in the standby line as well. I believe is how it works.
See, they need to do that for press because that's why I was saying that almost don't want to say because I feel guilty when I go because they invite us to do a press to cover it, basically make it part of our coverage, but we completely bypass everything and we walk right by everybody in the standby line and they're just like, where are they going in? And we've been waiting here
Yeah,
all day, so
it hurts.
that's just me. I feel guilty, like I almost don't want to make eye contact with them because like yes, I know you've been waiting here, and I just walk in like it's nothing.
Yeah. But I will say, in terms of lines and return times, in the exhibit itself, the studios will also have some experiences that they'll put on. I want to say all of those you must have a return time, and that they do that through a QR code. They do, so you go in, you'll scan the QR code. Last year I did a Fantastic Four one. I probably scanned my phone at like 10 a.m. and I got my call back at 3:30. No, it was toward the end of the day. At almost 5:30 maybe is when I got my return time for the Fantastic Four walkthrough. Even when I checked in for that, you redeem your return time code and then you continue to wait in the line. So there's some things where you have your return time and you go right in, and then other things where you have your return time and it's just a return time to actually get in the line. So they can avoid the overcrowding, but it still hurts a little bit when you're like, yay, I get to go in, and then you wait for another 45 minutes.
You get to go in to another line. I mean, I've always said that
Exactly. Yep.
you got to wait in the line to see if you can be in the line to be in the line. That's
Yeah.
San Diego Comic Con.
Yes, yeah. But speaking of lines, there's been one thing I've been wanting to know that I've never experienced before.
The bathroom
And that
lines.
you're back of the lines? No,
No,
I've
the bathroom
definitely.
lines. I said.
Oh, oh gosh, yeah. Don't even want to talk about that.
No, no. What line are you thinking about?
How the heck do you get into ballroom H?
Oh, well, both of them. You combine the two, Ballroom 20 and Hall H, because those are the yeah, you're right. Those are the two biggest ones. Ballroom Hall H is the biggest. Ballroom 20 is the second biggest. Usually where they have the bigger TV shows. Um, Sort of an unspoken thing. Studios know that when you make Ballroom 20, you're almost a hit. You're not quite there. When you're in your Hall H, you made it. That's where you get Star Trek, Marvel, DC, all the big ones. They're all there. Keanu was there the year that RDJ revealed the Doctor Doom. That's the Hall H ones. But Hall H, Ballroom 20, it's a wait, yes. Hall H, it's an adventure. Um, it could be a 2 day, maybe potentially even a 3 day adventure, and I know why, but I still don't get why. Um, Again, not a brag, but when you go as press, we get complimentary press badges to cover Comic Con. But I don't understand, but I do understand at the same time. People that I don't even know how much the badges are for Comic Con for the whole week. I imagine they're not $20. They gotta cost a pretty penny. So you spend all that money, all that waiting in line, you finally get it, and you spend the whole time camping out to see if you can get into Hall H. Because the way it works is, let's say, well, let's take this year. If you were to go into any panel in Hall H, I think I can guess which one, but which one, Aurelia, would you want to go into?
Really hard decision here, but if I had to pick one, I'd probably go with Marvel.
Yeah. Yeah, and you'll see the lines will be there already when you go. They'll be there for Marvel. So for this year, while the programming is out, it's not a secret anymore. It's like always Saturday 5:30 in Hall H. So you have to go to what's called the next day line. That starts. They say you can't start lining up on Thursday for I mean yeah, on Thursday for Fridays, but people do. You wait for what's called the flag drop. It's literally a flag drop. They have a green flag, and you've seen the signs that they hold up, the picket signs, I call them, that say the end of line. The, they'll be there, and then somebody will drop a green flag. That's your signal to line up for Friday. You're going to be in line pretty much all day Friday, and what you're waiting for is not to get into Hall H. You're waiting for. Do I have one here? No, I don't. The Hall H wristband, or the toucan trackers as they call them, and it's just a wristband, but they have letters now, A, B, C through D, I think it is. That corresponds to the sections in Hall H, because Hall H holds 6,000 people, or a little bit more, I think, but 6,000 plus, I'll say, people in there. And if you walk through the lines, there's more than 6,000 people in those lines. So not everybody's going to get in. Again, the Mo, that's a big one. So you have to lose 2 days basically, because you're going to be in the Hall H wait line all day long, because they don't start handing out the wristbands until about 8 or 9 p.m. Sometimes 10 or 11. Um, and then once you have that wristband, you have two choices. You can either go back to your hotel, get a good night's sleep, shower in the morning, but you have to be back in the line. They tell you by 7 a.m. I say 5 or 6 a.m. just to make sure you can get a good spot. Or what most people do, they just stay there. You camp out all night. If you're lucky, you're under the tent. You probably All of you have probably seen the white tents right outside Hall H. If you're in there, cool. You're under the tents. You're on astroturf or grass. If not, and I've been in these, you're going to be in across the street by the Bayfront Hotel. You can over there, and you're going to be on the concrete on the ground. Yeah, you can take camping. Well, let's not get crazy. You can take sleeping bags. You can take foldable chairs. They allow you to take the foldable chairs, the small ones. You can't take tents and umbrellas and all that. You can have that, but you better have somewhere to put them afterwards, because you can't take that into Hall H. And they do leave. I think it's Hall C or D. One of the bathrooms there, they do leave it open all night, and you can go if you need to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. You can't go to the bayfront of the hotels, because they close them off to attendees. It's only for people that are staying in the hotel. In the morning, again, same thing. You get a wake up call at about 6 a.m. So you got a couple of hours to wake up, get your coffee somehow, order it, or however you wake up. Roll up your whatever you had on there, clean your area, whatever you can do with your stuff, your camping equipment. Either some people just leave it there. That's why they get free stuff on Craigslist or something, and just throw it. They don't want it anymore. Just leave it there. Or if they're close there, or their friend comes by and they take it and take it back to the hotel or wherever you're staying. And then it's another wait, because the people that are in the tents already went through this, but everybody else that's waiting in line, and you're guaranteed, if you have the wristband, you're guaranteed to get into Hall H no matter what. You may not be right in front. The people that stay there all night, that's because they want to be in front. But everybody else, you have to go through, like Disneyland, through a check-in. There's the tables, there's the metal detectors, so they have to go through your bags. What do you have in there? No weapons, no Google glasses, because they don't want you to. I think we're going to get a certain trailer that I think everybody knows at this point. They don't want you to record it and leak it later on. I don't know why you would. It's going to be out minutes after it comes out. So once you get through that, then they slowly start moving people in about 8:30, 8:45 around there, because the first panel usually starts at 10, sometimes 11. So they want obviously everybody in there by the time it starts. And that's your Hall H adventure. That's who you get into. So like I said, if you want to do it, you can. You just be prepared to lose at least 2, potentially 3 days, just waiting in line to see if you can be in the line to get into Hall H.
Oh my.
But haven't done it many times at this point, and I wish my co-hosts were here. They said the same thing the year that we saw RDJ. Well worth it, because yes, by the time you get in there, you can barely keep your eyes open. Like, oh, I'm hungry. I'm tired. As soon as 4:45 comes around, there's an energy that just comes into Hall H. All these people that weren't there, no empty seats. By if it's this year starts at 5:30, if by 5:15 they're not, the Marvel logo's not up on the screens, the chant starts, Marvel, Marvel. And then when Eddie comes out to introduce it, the Eddie chant starts, and it's a whole thing. I always say it's an event within an event, and all the tiredness, all that stuff, you forget it. And believe me, it flies like that. Before you know it, Feige's out there and he's telling you, "Let's talk about what's coming," and then you can see that trailer, and then you're going to be talking about it, and you're going to see everybody there. And I think I just gave away too much what you're going to see in the panel, but you're going to see all of that, and all that weight, all of that makes it worth it. But it's an
Sounds
adventure.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like there's nothing you can that can beat that energy.
No.
It's what I can
Um,
imagine.
yeah. No. I've, I'm a parent. I've had kids, and people say, your wedding, when your kids are born, those are once in a lifetime experiences. I include Hall H if you get in there, the Marvel panel specifically, not just because I'm the Marvel guy, but yes, it is definitely a once in a lifetime type of experience. Some Marvel panels have been light for what they do, but then you have like the first ones when they first assembled the original Avengers on stage way back then. Then and you've all probably seen it on YouTube by now when Tom Hiddleston came out in full Loki outfit and say my name, I'm Loki. When RDJ a couple times when he danced down the aisles up to the stage, and again RDJ when he took off the mask and new mask, same task. All of those are things that you're always going to remember. The other panels they're good, they're fun. You get a lot of new trailers and all that stuff. But the Marvel panels, they're always an event within the event. And yes, I can understand why with with all of that, you're waiting in line and you're camping out there and you can't shower and all of that. That's why you get Confunk and Hall H. But everybody's okay. The AC is going on the whole time, so you don't really smell it. By the time Marvel rolls around.
Oh, that's funny, but yeah, amazing.
Well, let me wrap up like this. Now that you kind of know, would you ever want to do the Hall H adventure?
To say yes, because it would be incredible to be in that room. I am intimidated by the camping out process. My final answer would be yes, I would. But like you said, earlier, as a first time goer, if you're paying all this money, it would be a lot to miss the first few days. That would be kind of sad. So, but for me, that's probably what I'm most excited about. I'll say yes. That's my final answer. I'll stop
Yeah.
talking myself out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a lot. It is, but it sounds like a lot. But really, even the wait becomes you make lifelong friends. We have friends that we met in line. Not some of them aren't even from America. They came from other places just for that.
Wow.
And there's some that are from across the country, from the East Coast. I think they're going to be here actually again. We see each other pretty much every Comic Con. I think we're planning actually on doing it again because they know that it's going to be a big Marvel panel. So we talked about, hey, you ready to do it again? One of them, Morgan. Hey, Morgan. Morgan, I met him back in 2019, right before everything shut down. But I met him there, and we did the Hall H line that year. That was his first time. He always jokes every year, waiting in the Hall H line like shaves off a year off my life every time I go there. And I know what he means, but again, he'll tell you if he was here, it is worth it. Definitely worth it at the end of the day.
Incredible.
Yeah. So,
You're all in it together.
yeah, funny you say that because that was actually the theme that year. And everybody took that same. Remember the picture from Endgame when they all put their hands together. Everybody took that picture with the wristbands, whatever it takes to get into Hall H. Um,
Exactly.
but yeah, like I said, that's pretty much everything. I think Hall H included. And again, if we missed anything or there's something that you want to know that we didn't answer, go ahead and send us an email, a message, anything. And I always say this. You'll see me out there with cameras, microphones, the Geek Speak shirts. You'll know it's me, even if you don't know me personally. Don't be afraid to come say hi. And you heard Matt Wyatt, the director, earlier. It's their first time, even though their movie's being screened at Comic Con. But they're gonna rely. They're gonna use me as a guide. They'll tell me where to go, where all that. If you guys are lost, if you see me or you see anybody with a Geek Speak shirt, don't be afraid to ask. Hey, where do we go? What do we do? Um, I know we geeks, we nerds, we have a reputation of being introverts, being shy. And yeah, it's true we are, but I'm telling you, not just because David Glanzer said it many times, but this is our people. That's our tribe right there. So Don't be afraid to ask somebody. And the cool thing about Comic Con, it's a closed campus except for badge attendees, except when you go outside to the gas lamp and all that. But in Comic Con, that is our safe space. Everybody's there for the same thing. Not maybe not the same movie or show or whatever, but we're all there because we love geek culture, pop culture, and we're all introverts and shy there. Even me, as much as I talk on these microphones, even I am. But that is the one place where no one laughs at me because I'm wearing. Well, really, you found out last year. Nobody laughed at you because of what you wore, or because of the guys dressed as Galactus. Nobody's gonna say like, "Oh, he's weird." They want pictures. There, you're a superstar for that 1 week. So yeah, this is definitely our home for that 1 week. So don't be if you feel lost, don't be afraid to ask anybody. Again, I'm there. I don't charge anything. Nobody does. Just ask me. Sometimes I don't think things are tougher this year, but there have been, and those of you that are watching, remember, I bought pizza for some of our listeners that we met. They're like, hey, I'm hungry. Let's go get some pizza. And they're like, hey, Henry's a pretty cool guy. They bought us pizza and all that. So that's what I miss after Comic Con. Not really the panels, all that stuff. It's the people, the friends that I see there, and the friends that I may make there after we go there. So yeah, after all of that, before we get out of here, Maria, let them know where they can follow you and what if anything you have coming up that they should especially be looking out for whatever you're doing.
Thank you. Yes, I've been doing a cool Spider-Man outfit series for Brand New Day and Spider-Man Summer. You can find me at Aurelia's Adventureland on Instagram and TikTok. And I do plan on being in San Diego for Comic Con. I will probably be experiencing all of the activations. So don't ask me for directions because I'm directionally challenged, but you can, if you do see me around, ask me where you should be going because I'm hoping I can see it all. But yeah, looking forward to it. I'll be covering the activations during that week and more to come after that.
Yeah, and if you don't have an answer to something, just tell him. Find Henry; he'll tell you.
Yeah, exactly. That's my answer. That's my final answer.
Yeah. So again, everybody, there you go. It feels like we already went through Comic Con, but now you are ready. The countdown has reached zero, not the Doomsday one, the countdown to Comic Con. It's time for Comic Con. Enjoy it if you're going there. And if you are going there, like I always say, we'll see you in Comic Con.